Welcome to Out for Lunch on FTV. What you watched was a clip of one of our collections sa The Office series natin, brilliantly created by Jeff Atienza. Mag-hi naman kayo from the control booth. Kung makikita tayo dyan. Maya-maya, sige, okay lang. Ayan. Anjo and Jeff on the control booth. Tulog muna. Okay, it's April 16. It's a Thursday. Konting kiambot na lang at weekend na. What are your plans for this weekend? It's gonna be a very busy weekend for me. And today on Out for Lunch, pag-uusapan natin, it's good for you to share this link, no? Because later we're going to talk about how we shouldn't be trusting AI too much. I know that it's helping a lot of us do our work, pero there are caveats. There are things that we should remember, keep in mind about AI. Sometimes kasi we treat it already as our confidant, no? Because it can help us so much in the things that we do. And I know people who even go to AI to ask for advice on relationships, for example. And sabi nila, they're getting good feedback, no? Good advice. Libreng psychiatrist or something like that. According to them, it helps them. But it's okay if it helps us. It's just good to know also what are the things that possibly compromises the information, no, that we share on AI. But before that, we're going to talk to a media producer and author of the 2024 book, The Call to Lead, Ignatian Wisdom and the Journey of Leading. He is also a former seminarian and he relocated to Vancouver just in 2023. He previously taught in a graduate school of business in the Philippines, and now he's eager to share with us the insights that led him to write this book. So we have with us today Jake de Guzman from Vancouver. Hi, Jake.
Hi, Cherry. Hi, everyone. Morning from
Kamusta?
Vancouver.
Kamusta muna sa Vancouver? How is it there? We're in Toronto and Jake is in Vancouver.
Yeah, it's really nice now. We're at 7 degrees. We had no snow this winter. So,
Oh,
parang
really?
masarap na yung panahon.
Oo, that's good. Oh, at ito mukhang ano na talaga. Mukhang spring na talaga. Although next week,
Yeah.
parang may -1 pa kami dito sa Toronto.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the book first, Jake, no? What led you to write this book, The Call to Lead?
Yeah. It was 2022, middle of pandemic in Manila. So medyo mahigpit yung mga lockdowns doon. I couldn't teach. I couldn't go to Ateneo Business School to teach. We had to teach on Zoom and I couldn't teach na on Zoom. Parang pagod na pagod ako, burnout. It's such a different
Mm-hmm.
experience, no? When you're teaching over the computer. Um, so sabi ko, what can I do while we're at home and I wanted to be productive? At the same time, I had just recently closed the company that took me 20 years to get to and build. Parang I thought it was my passion and purpose and
Mm.
calling. So what do I do now? I needed to reflect on that experience. What did I learn? What happened? Um, and use the framework of the class I was teaching, which was leadership, now finding your own purpose.
Parang now you have to walk the talk, no?
Yeah, parang I needed to be honest. I go, was I teaching something to the next generation of Filipinos that was wrong, given my own experience of of starting something, building it, and then suddenly I couldn't continue it anymore. So sabi ko, writing would help me reflect, but also writing the class would help keep me honest, diba?
That's a very good thing to have to reflect when you're in a position of leadership or in a position of authority, no, and especially teaching the next generation. It takes a lot to maybe admit that it might not be the best thing, no, that was happening,
Yeah,
especially with impressionable minds. Now
yeah,
that we are older, no, yung at my age, I'll speak for myself, no. I'm in my early 50s. I'm 52 years old. And I'm thinking, when I was in my 20s, earlier even in my 30s probably, early 30s, I really believed and I took it as gospel truth. Some of the things that my professors were telling me, or
Yeah,
the
yeah,
people in authority, my bosses who I looked up to. And then when I went through my own life journey, na-realize ko na some of those things are not entirely how
yeah,
it should be.
yeah,
No, but of course they also have their own journey. They're also humans. They
yeah,
thought maybe
yeah.
at that particular time that was the best thing. So I just think that's a very beautiful part of the reflection into, writing this book. You mentioned earlier, Jake, that you closed your company for 20 years
Mhm.
at that time during the pandemic. Do you mind if I ask you, why did you think of that when you thought that it was like what you said kanina, that you thought it was your passion, it was your calling?
Yeah, yeah. Uh, Parang external circumstances. We were producing TV shows, some of them for all the major networks in the Philippines, including some in Southeast Asia. But we were independent. Basically, we were funding ourselves from our revenues or finding investors. No, uh, and we were finding a space. It was that time when a lot of advertising revenue was going online. People were seeing
Mm-hmm,
that you can
mm-hmm,
get more views on Facebook and YouTube than you could in broadcasting.
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
that was the big disruptor. And I go, oh,
Mm,
why don't we go into that space and at the same time produce for the legacy networks, and have those two businesses, those two revenues? But then suddenly it changed very quickly. A lot of the
right.
advertising moved to Facebook and YouTube, and then suddenly we were too big to stay under the radar. Parang we had to sustain ourselves. I had to pay salaries, rent, all that, no
Mm-hmm,
equipment.
mm-hmm.
Um, and at the same time, we were too small to too big to stay under the radar to be
Yeah,
sustainable, but too small not to have whatever the leverage and the
correct.
brand equity to keep on going despite the challenges. And you see that now in the Philippines, right? Or even in Canada, CBC, ABS,
Mm-mm.
CBN, keep on going despite very challenging times.
Mm-hmm. Just to let them know, no, because kami ni Jake, we used to see each other before out on field when I was a
Yeah,
news reporter for ABS-CBN and he was a producer for Game Plan.
yeah.
'Di ba? Tama ba yung memory ko?
Oh yeah. So when you were saying 20s and 30s and speaking for yourselves, so I was going to say, "Hoy, magkabatch tayo." And we used to
I
see each
didn't
other
wanna ano
in.
baka you didn't wanna say your age. Ako, okay lang. I don't wanna speak for you.
I'm a little older, but I remember the first time we met was sometime maybe 96 in Boracay. We were the two youngest field producers, reporters there for to cover um, the what is it? The second Boracay Dive Festival.
Yes,
Yeah.
that sounds right. 1996. And ano,
Yeah.
um, I didn't know much about sports. That was Jake's forte, no? And yun yung mga time na you didn't know about this, but that time I was so scared. I was so afraid because I had no knowledge of what I was covering. And I didn't know what I was going to talk about when I go on camera and talk about
Yeah.
my coverage. And I was too proud to ask or embarrassed to ask other people. I was very tempted to ask Jake, anong
Yeah.
nangyayari dito, Jake? Hindi ko naiintindihan to. But these are, that's still one of the most memorable things for me because that's one of my most scared part
Yeah.
of my repertorial experience. And yeah, I mentioned that because I admired their show, no? Kung sa mga ka-generation namin ni Jake, yung Game Plan is one of the pioneer sports show in the Philippines
Yeah.
and it was well produced, di ba? So we've gone a long way from there. And let's go back to your reflection in
Mhm.
writing this book. Who do you think would benefit most from reading this book?
I think anyone who's searching for the intersection of passion and purpose in their own lives, anyone who asks themselves, why am I here? Diba? What is the, I would like to make a difference in the world. I want to serve others. But how do I do that? While at the same time, diba, living through the challenges of finding a living, starting a life, creating a family. And that's who that book is for. So you may not necessarily want to or see yourself as a leader, no? That I am the head of an organization and people will look at me. But you see yourself as someone who has a desire in their heart to be of service to other people. There's this calling, promise, or desire to use my own gifts, my skills, my knowledge, my values, and my significant experiences, but the things that my family has given me, the things that my country, my historical context has given me, and all those life lessons, about those mistakes, those struggling through fear and finding your way out of it. How can I use all this, and what is it meant for? Diba? I went through this for a purpose. What is that purpose? Where is that place in the world? So I think that book is for anyone who's searching for those questions.
And it has just no, it has just won best book on humor, sports, and lifestyle on the sa 43rd National Book Awards sa
Yeah,
Philippines. So
yeah,
I didn't think there was humor there. Sports I kind of expected from you, but
yeah,
it's a good read, 'di ba? Na it comes across to me. I haven't read it myself. Na it's going to be a light read because there's
yeah,
humor in it. I mean, the
yeah.
way yeah.
And I think the award. So I go, wow. When I got the news, I go, wow. I'm not that funny. And I don't think the book is that funny. But when you talk about passion and purpose and the big, deep questions of life, you don't expect it to be humorous. But I remember my philosophy professor, and for those who know, si Padre Roque Ferriol sa Ateneo, he used to say, life is too serious to be taken seriously. Parang
Mhm.
be
Uh-huh.
able to,
Oo.
step back and laugh a little or see it in not, yeah, not to take it too seriously. There are no fatal mistakes really in life.
Oo. Yeah, that's a very good reminder. Sometimes then when I'm also kind of
Yeah.
considered more serious than funny. But I also get like some comments na parang, or bigla ako magugulat na tatawa yung mga tao sa storya.
Yeah.
When you're authentic, sometimes it's funny because
Yeah.
life is, di ba? Life is funny. Most of the time, we just fail to see the humor sometimes because we're so buried into like, what are we gonna do? The worry and all of that. But not everyone who are listening to us right now or later on when they watch this on demand, no, will be able to read the book or will be able to read
Mhm.
it right away. Do you mind sharing a few things that maybe even if they don't read the book, something that
Yeah.
they can take from it?
Yeah, happy to do it. Some of the insights of the book is uh, how leaders become leaders is maybe two big things. One is the business gurus, the leadership gurus who study how leaders become leaders, all say the same thing. One is that they understand the story of their lives. They understand their values and they live from that life story more than external. Now, what people expect, what is my role, what are the pressures from the outside world. So they live from the inside out, intrinsic motivation rather than more than intrinsic, or it's a mix of both. And the second is they go through a transforming process. There was one Harvard professor who said, leaders, those who make a difference, seem to be twice born, that they had gone through difficulty in their life and have come out on the other side, understanding what that chapter meant in their life and using it to make a difference in the world. So, kasi we share the significant experiences of our lives. You were saying earlier now, we get advice from our mentors, diba, our bosses, even leaders we follow or gurus we read. And sometimes it doesn't always make sense, no? We have to make sense. We have to journey through these ideas, these questions, and reframe why things are difficult or why we're going through difficulty today. So I think those two things, come to some self-awareness. What gives you joy? What triggers you? Understand why. Uh, Understand the story of your life, where you came from, your country, your family, your significant experiences, and then look for how does that make a difference in the world? Well, where can I put myself in the story of how big the problems are, so that I can, diba, affect even the few people just around me? But are people better because they met me today? Because they, whoever it is, diba, you buy something in the grocery, you meet people on the street. Then are they better because they met me today?
So,
And then go through the difficulties. You know, difficulties are transformative. That's why they're there.
oo,
Yeah,
parang we know it's there. And after this one, there's going to be a next one. That's for
yeah,
sure.
yeah,
So instead of fearing that, that's an ultimate, it's a reality, diba? You have to find the purpose kung bakit, why you're going through that, no?
yeah,
Do
yeah,
you do you believe, Jake, that everyone is a leader?
yeah. Everyone has a desire to make a difference, and they can use that to affect the people around them. So, parang leadership isn't defined by position or power. It's defined by the service to the problem you want to solve and the people who are going through that problem. So
So
everyone
that
has that.
basically means
Everyone is
all
called.
of us, 'di ba? In
Yeah.
all of our
Yeah.
roles, 'di ba? In
Yeah.
our lives. So,
Diba?
yeah, kasi parang it's not really just the big idea of being a leader.
Yeah.
Some people might
Yeah.
think, hindi naman ako boss sa opisina, hindi naman ako sa bahay naman, yung asawa ko nagdedesisyon, hindi naman ako.
Mm.
But then, yeah, in that
Yeah.
sense, no, it's not just the position when we say leadership. We do just the fact that we make decisions every day. We make
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
series of decisions, like what Jake
Yeah.
said. You're in the grocery. It's not as no, it's not as mundane as that. It is. There's always something. There's always a value that you can put in
Yeah.
everything that you do. No.
Yeah.
Andrew is asking, is it on Amazon?
Right now, no. It's available through the Ateneo de Manila Press. They deliver internationally, or you can. The easiest way is to get the ebook. You can get the ebook from there.
So sa site ng Ateneo de Manila Press, and then they
Yes. Yeah.
can get the ebook from there.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good thing because outside of the Philippines, that's how we can get our own copies.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, and it has para sa mga halimbawa may uuwi na kakilala sa Pilipinas, pwedeng magdala. Is it on hardbound or soft
Yeah.
cover pareho?
Yeah, it's a soft cover, easily carryable, less than 1 kilogram. I think it's 500 grams. So I've had people go back to Manila and makikipadala ako. Hey, can you bring naman a few copies here to Canada? And yeah,
And where can they find it in Manila?
in Manila, in the bookstore sa Ateneo or Shopee in Lazada. Actually, you can get it through there too.
There. That's the easy
Yeah,
way. Shopee or
yeah,
Lazada in the Philippines. Okay,
yeah.
Cesar Marquez is watching us. Hi, Cesar. Kokoy, at namin naman pinapabati ni Kokoy. Sige, but they can read that, no, because they can also see the chat box. Mike Kabsky says yes, leading in your own way. Usually, folks here try to shy away from leadership because rates of pay when you become a leader just goes to your tax, meaning more
Yeah.
stress, more tax. That is why they wouldn't like to take on leadership. That's valid. I mean, that's
Oh yeah.
it's good to bring up that concern also. Na parang iniisipin na more responsibilities, more problems. I also have
Yeah.
friends who decline positions, higher
Yeah. Yeah.
positions at work because as it is, they're already stretched. They don't want to be accountable for so many
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. Yeah.
What
Yeah.
can you say about
Exactly.
that?
You have to find the place where you fit, diba? Parang you can't, there's this psychology who said you can't pick up a stick and not the other end too. So tama si Mike, right? You pick up leadership, there are consequences, taxes, difficulties, more responsibilities. If you're not willing to do that, walang pilitan. That's not
Oh,
your calling. But at the same time, if you feel called to do something and you see, oh, this is going to be difficult. I remember the founders of Newsbreak, which is now in Rappler. When we talked to them about starting Newsbreak, Marites Vitug says, "Oh my, this is going to change my life." And she did it anyway. Parang she was a journalist and suddenly
oo.
became an entrepreneur. So parang ganun, no? Parang if you're willing to pay that price, knowing that it's there's going to be difficulty, but that the purpose is larger than that, then go. Pero walang pilitan. It's never easy, pero walang pilitan.
Beautiful. Walang pilitan. Okay. Before we let you go, I know that you have another appointment, another commitment. So maybe just your last words to anyone who's watching us right now.
Last words is we all have this inner call, this inner desire in our hearts. And sometimes you see it with the problems you care about. But they're called pain points. Barack Obama says you look at the world and you say someone should do something about that problem. People in authority should do that. That's their job. And then you realize no one's going to do it if you don't. So what is that small, I don't know, space in the world where we can make a difference, affect one person, affect two people? These are all callings. This is how we can change the world and make a difference.
On that note, thank you so much, Jake. And we'll keep in touch. Balitaan mo lang kami on the updates in your life from
Thanks,
Vancouver.
Jerry. And good luck to FTV. I believe in what you guys are doing.
Thank you. That matters. Jake de Guzman, author, entrepreneur, and leader. He was also a professor and a former seminarian. Jake de Guzman, maraming salamat. Okay, now we're going to move on to, this is an interesting bit of story. Good news ito para sa mga ayaw mangalay sa kanilang mga flights, no, sa mga mahabang biyahe. Teka, hindi ko na kailangan sa ito ng aking salamin. So kung ayaw niyong mangalay sa mahabang biyahe dahil pwede na talagang humiga ng maayos kahit nasa economy class as long as you're flying Air New Zealand. So maglalagay ang Air New Zealand ng Economy Skynest o mga bunk bed sa kanilang bagong Boeing 787 Dreamliners kung saan pwedeng magbayad ang economy passengers para makahiga at makatulog ng diretsyo. Magsisimula ang booking sa May 18 para sa mga piling flights. Simula November at bawat session ay tatagal ng 4 hours at may presyong $495 US, about in Philippine pesos, 28,000 pesos. Canadian dollars, small difference with the US dollars. So ang bawat pod ay may kutsyon, may bedding, may privacy curtain, may reading light, charging ports, pati seatbelt para safe habang natutulog. Papalitan ng cabin crew ang mga pillows, sheets at blankets sa pagitan ng bawat session. So if you're wondering, bakit 4 hours? Ang desisyon kung bakit 4 hours ang bawat session ay base sa research nila tungkol sa sleep cycles. Sapat na raw ito para makadalawang 90-minute sleep cycles at magising na refreshed bago lumapag. Unang masusubukan ito sa ultra long-haul flight sa pagitan ng New York, JFK Airport at Auckland sa New Zealand na isa sa mga pinakamahabang flights sa mundo. Tumatagal yan ng 17 hours. Bukod sa Skynest, sikat ang kanila ring Sky Couch kung saan 3 upuan ay nagiging flat surface. No, focus daw ng airline na gawing manageable ang mahabang biyahe para sa lahat. So it's not for everyone on economy. No, but a few people kasi they don't have naman all of the pods in their plane, no? So hindi pa to, May 18 yung simula ng booking, and then I think the first flight where you can book, no, a 4-hour slot in that bunk bed in their plane is in November. So interesting for Air New Zealand to try something like that, because for all of us who fly economy, lalo na tayo kung Canada to Pilipinas, 'di ba? Ang haba. That's also one of the longest flight. Yung Auckland na yan, which is 16 hours na direct flight to JFK. Ang Pilipinas, 16 hours. So it's like 1 hour less kasi magkalapit lang naman ang New Zealand at ang Philippines. Slightly mas malayo lang sila ng konti, no? Slightly it takes a little bit longer for them to get to JFK, for example. Pero nakakatuwa, 'di ba? There was even a theory before na pwede naman daw talagang gawin ng mga airlines na mas komportable ang seating sa mga eroplano. It doesn't have to be that cramped. No, but I'm not sure about the study. Yung gagawing, pwede naman daw gawing bunk na parang sa mga bus, 'di ba? We have long haul na mga bus na nagta-travel ng malayo na 'di ba nakahiga. Yun nga lang, malapit na yung next bunk dun sa mukha mo, but at least you're lying flat and that's still a lot more comfortable than being, cramped in a small space. Yung gilid mo maliit na, yung harap mo maliit na, lalo na kung matangkad, mahaba ang legs, 'di ba? Nagkaroon ng ganyang controversy din dito sa Pilipinas, dito sa, asa na ba ako? Wala na ako sa Pilipinas. Dito sa Pilipinas yung lumabas. Dito sa Canada, 'di ba? Nung nagpakita ng video na ang liit-liit ng legroom, that went viral and kasi binawasan pa yung maliit na nga na space between the person to the other to the other row of seats. Okay, basa muna tayo ng konting messages. Oh, nice to hear from Glenn Gregorio. Hello, hello. Nice to hear from you and see you here on Facebook. Sabi ni Mike, being a leader means it must come within you, not just because of monetary rewards. Sometimes, though, it is a tough call. If you see Glenn Gregorio, the one who is posting on Facebook now, he's another Filipino leader that we should all be proud of. One of, marami siyang mga sinimulang mga proyekto, sinimulang mga ideas on Philippine agriculture, rice growing. So if you can hit his Facebook account, you'll find out more about that. Maybe we'll talk to him one of these days on our show. He's based in the Philippines, no? And he's done a lot of good things for Philippine agriculture. Joy Olson, bongga naman ng economy class ng Air New Zealand, 'di ba? Pwede na, pero again that bed doesn't come for free, and it doesn't come for all the economy class passengers. So you'll book that to a price of about $490 for a 4-hour sleeping time, no? 4 hours, tapos may iba naman na magbo-book ulit ng another 4 hours. The cabin crew will change everything and clean it, parang mini hotel, no? Yan. So lilinisin nila, papalitan ng bed sheets, papalitan ng pillowcases, tapos yung next naman na nag-rent for 4 hours. Ako, willing yata ako mag-rent, pero 'di ba parang another bayad. Sige na nga. Kayo, are you willing to pay like 500 Canadian dollars for a 4-hour lying down in that bunk? What do you think? Ano ba, papunta kang Pilipinas, 18-hour, 16, 17-hour direct flight. Parang parang pwede. Kasi yung maayos na tulog, sabi nga dun sa studies, 'di ba? In 4 hours, you can get 2 sets of 90-minute sleep cycle na magiging mas refresh ka daw. Mas fresh ng konti pagdating mo. Hindi yung para kang ni-rape ng 7 kalabaw pagdating mo na sa Pilipinas. Yung parang, Pero, well, actually, when I was younger, I didn't really used to feel so tired. I'm so excited to travel that pagdating ko, ready to go pa rin. Sana ganun pa rin ako ngayon. Tingnan natin. Take note, Air Canada. O yan, sana gayahin daw ng Air Canada. Kaya, yung Air New Zealand, 'di ba? Pwede sana. Sana nga, pag nasimula ng Air New Zealand, hindi lang sila. Kahit anong mga airline dyan. Pag-aralan nyo naman kung paano magiging mas komportable sa mga pasahero. Parang puro profit na lang, pasikip na lang ng pasikip eh. Anong tawag sa leader ng saging? Banana chip. Bakit chip? Chip. Wenk-wank. Sabi nga ng daughter ko pag ganyan, wenk-wank. Okay, standing para sa mga short flight para mas mura. Ano yung standing? Peace and love to the earth. Nakatayo, sabit, sa jeepney. Akala ko may plane, Minsan kasi merong mga airline term, di ba? Standing, akala ko standby. Joy, considering matatangkad mga Canadians, then walang extra legroom ang economy cabin. I had an airline work experience, kaya I feel some passengers' frustrations. Oh, you had an airline work experience, yan. That's interesting, Share with us some of the things na, yung mga ganyan, no? Kasi, meron nga, di ba, minsan may mga viral na nagpo-post according to a stewardess or according to an airline staff. Kasi maraming secrets na kayo lang ang nakakaalam inside the airline industry. If my extra budget and for the experience willing to pay extra hundreds, totoo. Iba kasi talaga yung yung pagod ng dating mo. Para kang binugbog. Peace and love to the earth. O nga pala, nabasa ko na yan from Cesar. Okay, buti naman at nanunood kayo ngayon. Overtime na tayo. Okay, but then I promise this content. So we'll just, this is gonna be the last content for today before we say goodbye. Paalala natin ha, do not use AI as a confidant. In a world where we rely on Gemini, ChatGPT, Grok, Notebook LM, Claude, mga ganyan, no, to get things done quickly, it's tempting to treat them like a digital best friend. But don't be fooled into thinking that it keeps your secrets. The biggest issue is that AI never forgets. Unlike a friend na pwedeng makalimot, everything you share is saved on a server forever and can be used to train the system so your secrets are never truly gone. There are real people also behind the curtain. Don't be fooled by the bot persona. Tech companies often hire human contractors to review chat logs to improve the model, meaning a total stranger could end up reading your private messages. Hackers are actively targeting your history also. Reuters, hinighlight nila that thousands of AI user credentials have been found for sale on the dark web. So if your account gets hacked, your entire conversation history is up for grabs. Ang AI also doesn't have professional privilege. Unlike your doctor or a lawyer na bawal i-chismis by law, AI companies aren't legally bound to keep your secrets and can be forced to hand over your data to authorities if needed. Your confessions become data points. Everything you say, from your health worries to your work stress, can be used to build a profile of you. One use of that is they can influence the ads that you see or the deals that you get online, but who knows what else they'll use it for. The delete button is often an illusion. Even if you delete a chat, the information might have already been processed into the AI's brain, making it almost impossible to completely scrub your personal info from the system. Data leaks are also a real-world threat. As reported by Reuters also, even major companies like Samsung had to ban AI tools after employees accidentally leaked sensitive internal data, proving na kahit gaano kaingat, once you hit send, you lose control. Jose de Dural, hello daw FTV. And buti nakahabol ka, Jose. We're just about to say goodbye. Thank you for joining us this Thursday, April 16, 2026. Mabibisto daw ang kabaklaan ni Philbert Wong. Akala mo nakatago sa AI. Okay, and that ends our program for today. Tomorrow, Anjo might be sitting in for me. But I'll see you again on Monday. Bye! Happy weekend!